Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopirana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopirana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Ranjana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Aladeva Mai Subhadra Jaya Radha Radha Kanta Radha Radha Kanta Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Balaram, Krishna Balaram. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramhamsa Parivajagacharya Stotra Tata Shivamaya Bhai Charnavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramhamsa Parivajagacharya Stotra Tata Shivamaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Grahantaraj Srimad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasim Tato Jayamudiriye Nasta Prayeshtava Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Reading from Grantharaj Srimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, Text number 33. Title of the chapter, The Lord in the Heart. Nahito anaya shiva pantha Vishataha samshrita viha Vasudeve bhagavati Bhakti yoga yato bhaved Nahito anya shiva pantha Vishataha samshrita viha Vasudeve bhagavati Bhakti yoga yato bhave Nahito anaya shiva pantha Vishataha samshrita viha Vasudeve bhagavati Bhakti yoga yato bhave
Nyahito anya shiva pantha
Shiva pantha
Vishita samsrita viha
Vishta samshrita viha
Vasudeve bhagavati Bhakti yogo yato bhave
Shiva pantha Na, never. He, certainly. Ataha, beyond this. Anyaha, any other. Shivaha, auspicious. Pantaha, means. Vishataha, wondering. Samshritao, in the material world. Iha, in this life. Vasudeva, unto Lord Vasudeva, Krishna. Bhagavati, the personality of Godhead. Bhakti Yoga, direct devotional service. Yataha, wherein. Bhavet, may result in. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Chaitanya Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. For those who are wandering in the material universe, there is no more auspicious means of deliverance than what is aimed at in the direct devotional service of Lord Krishna. Please repeat. For those who are wandering in the material universe, there is no more auspicious means of deliverance than what is aimed at in the direct devotional service of Lord Krishna. Purport. As will be clarified in the next verse, devotional service or direct bhakti yoga is the only absolute and auspicious means of deliverance from the grip of material existence. There are many indirect methods for deliverance from the clutches of material existence, but none of them is as easy and auspicious as bhakti yoga. The means of jnana and yoga and other allied disciplines are not independent in delivering a performer. Such activities help one to reach the stage of bhakti yoga after many, many years in the Bhagavad Gita. Many years. In the Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is said that those who are attached to the impersonal feature of the Absolute are liable to many troubles in the pursuit of their desired goal. And the empiricist philosopher, searching after the absolute truth, realized the importance of Vasudeva realization as all in all after many, many births. 719. As far as yoga systems are concerned, it is also said in the Bhagavad Gita 647 that amongst the mystics who pursue the absolute truth, the one who is always engaged in service of the Lord is the greatest of all. And the last instruction in Bhagavad Gita 1866 advises fully surrendering unto the Lord, leaving aside all other engagements or different processes for self-realization and liberation from material bondage. And the purport of all Vedic literatures is to induce one to accept the transcendental loving service of the Lord by all means. As already explained in the text of Srimad Bhāgavatam, first canto, either direct bhakti yoga or the means which ultimately culminate in bhakti yoga, without any tinge of fruitive activity, constitute the highest form of religion. Everything else is simply a waste of time for the performer. Srila Sridhar Swami and other acharyas like Jiva Goswami agree that bhakti yoga is not only easy, simple, natural, and free from trouble, but is the only source of happiness for the human being. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Ayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamstra Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parirana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamstra Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devatra Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Just repeat the verse again. For those who are wandering in the material universe, there is no more auspicious means of deliverance than what is aimed at in the direct devotional service of Lord Krishna. How many of you are wandering in the material universe? All of us. Yes, so this verse is being spoken to who? All of us. So, we're in the very early part of the second canto, and Shukadeva Goswami is answering a very important question that Maharaj Parikshit had asked at the end of the first canto. And that question was, what was the question? What to do when death is upon us? What should I hear? What should I chant? Should I go see the Eiffel Tower and the Great Wall of China? How I should spend my last days? That was the question. And the perfection of that question is he also asked very importantly, what should I not do? Complete instruction tells us what to do and what not to do. Like we see in Nectar Devotion, in the definition of pure devotional service. We get what we should not do in the first half, and we get what we should do in the second half. In the explanation of the angas of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we see what are the do's and also what are the offenses we should avoid. So this complete instruction manifests when we have clarity, because if we tell a child, don't eat this grass, then if he finds some mud and he eats that, is that good? No. So complete instruction is don't eat this grass, but eat this nice sabji, puri, shah, which will be coming after this class, of course. So, a very nice. And in yesterday's verse, very importantly, that Shukadeva Goswami is answering the question according to the version of the Vedas. Meaning, it is our great opportunity and responsibility to inquire about this perfection of life. And what is spoken should be spoken according to Guru Sadhu Shastra. Right? It is not, this knowledge that we are acquiring is descending knowledge. The knowledge originates in one, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And He has broadcast this message through different means, sometimes directly, as we see in Bhagavad Gita, and sometimes through Guru Parampara. And of course, He comes here repeatedly to fill in the blanks, to correct any deviations. But this knowledge, it comes from the Lord. And so when we hear this knowledge, we should have great faith and confidence that it is coming from the authority, the absolute authority. But also, when we try to speak and present this knowledge, we should also be very careful that it should be spoken according to Shastra. And that's why Srila Prabhupada gave us the great formula. He said, you memorize my purports, and then you present them in your words. That is how it remains authentic, right? We cannot just parrot something else, because then it'll come off maybe disingenuous. But at the same time, it has to remain true to the original facts. And so this is a nice balance. Memorize the purports of Srila Prabhupada and then present them. So let us try to have some discussion today on this, beautiful purport Srila Prabhupada has stated. So in the beginning, and of course, Shukadev Goswami has been explaining that there are these indirect processes of achieving perfection, which is ultimately rendering devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the conclusion we know of all activity, is to lovingly surrender to the Lord in service. And there's a factual reason for that. We were created for one reason. We were created for one reason. Not to construct some temple, not to go out and preach to the world. We were created for one reason: to be enjoyed by Kṛṣṇa. That is our position. Kṛṣṇa wanted to enjoy, and so he created us to enjoy with him. And so that is why that is our eternal, natural, constitutional position. Because that is the purpose of why we are created. We didn't create ourselves, we know that. There was somebody who did. And anybody who makes something always has a very clear purpose and intent. So our eternal and perfect activity, as explained in this verse, is aimed at the direct devotional service to the Lord Kṛṣṇa. But not everybody may be prepared, of course, to follow that. So these other paths are given, the indirect paths. And Srila Prabhupada writes here very importantly, I just have to find that. I am not able to find it. Well, he says that these other paths are not independent. This is a very important point. What it means is that it is not that, you are a karma yogi, I am a jnana yogi, you are a bhakti yogi, and these are going in different directions. These are different options. No. As we know, Kṛṣṇa explains the yoga ladder in the Bhagavad Gita chapters 3 through 6. It is a ladder. A ladder means one step leads to the next step, which leads to the next step. They are progressive steps. They are not, 3 or 4 different options. So karma yoga only has a success when it ultimately leads to bhakti yoga. Through jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, buddhi yoga, ultimately the bhakti yoga. So just like we chant in the offenses, the names of the demigods are not equal to or independent. Both parts we have to understand and capture. So here, these other paths are not independent, meaning they have its success only when they culminate in devotional service. So our choice is very simple. Do we want to take the indirect path or the direct path? So when we are ever presented with option A or option B, what do? We should, with intelligence, evaluate what are the pros and cons of A and what are the pros and cons of B, and then make an informed decision. If everybody is going this way, does that mean we should go that way? No, we should use our discrimination, right? So that we can have great faith in our decision. And as we were talking about last night, then endeavor will follow. Determination will follow. So we should evaluate. So Kṛṣṇa in Bhagavad Gita here through Srimad Bhāgavatam is explaining what is the nature of the indirect path going through these different yoga systems. Easy? Simple? Painful. Long endeavor. Uncertain success. Just like, Srila Prabhupada would give the example, if you wanted to go to the top of a 100-story building, are you going to take the stairs or the elevator? You can take the stairs. You may never get there. You may run out of steam. You may get distracted along the way. This view from the 50th floor is pretty good. What's the point to go up higher? It happens. We see in Brihad Bhāgavatam, right? Gop Kumar, as he's making his way, so many different allurements are there, along the way to the spiritual world. Krishna is going to test us. What is it that you really want? And so many amazing things will be presented to us. So like that, in the indirect path, you may get distracted and not make it. But most importantly, when you go into the elevator, what work you have to do? Stay there. And you have to do one more thing. You have to press the button. You have to decide where to go. Right? The elevator will not go for you. But after that, who does all the work? This is bhakti. Krishna is so eager to have us back with him. We have to step into the elevator. We have to decide, Krishna, it is you who I want. But then who's going to make it happen? Not us. Because we are incapable of overcoming our anarthas and our impurities and the allurements of this material energy. But who is capable of making us overcome them? Krishna. So as long as we decide that, yes, I want to go to the top floor, then Krishna unleashes his full potency to uplift us. Do you think he can uplift us? You think it'll take years and decades and intense meditation in the caves to uplift this rotten heart of mine? Krishna can do it in an instant. But we have to do our part, which is to beg Krishna with great sincerity. So these processes of bhakti, to the layman, to the uneducated, they seem too simple. You people, you just engage in chanting and dancing, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was criticized, right, by the sannyasis at Varanasi. I think last time I was here, we spoke on that verse, right? That, you should engage in study of Vedanta. That's the real spiritual process. Like this, even when Srila Prabhupada was, spreading this movement, many, personalities came and started to whisper psh, psh, to the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is just giving you the beginner stuff. I have the advanced knowledge. I'll give you the real bhav, real Krishna prem. Like this, people were presenting. And out of maybe ignorance, maybe immaturity, maybe something else, some people were drawn away. And anyone who left, what was the end result? Complete loss of everything. So we should not be fooled in the relative simplicity, the potency of devotional service. Because the reason it is simple is very important. So Sridhar Swami and others quote right here, Bhakti Yoga is not only easy, simple, natural, and free from trouble. I thought we'll discuss each of these. But we should know, why is it simple? Because we have this programming in our brain. No pain, no gain. But Krishna's mercy is the only reason the process is so effective, most effective, yet easiest to perform. How many of us are ready to retire to the forest and enter into dhyana yoga? When I understood why we sit on a deer skin to keep the snakes away, I'm done. Done. This process, no. This process is so arduous and difficult, Getting past the yamas and niyamas is case over. Forget about trying to sit in the right asanas. Forget about the breathing. It's impossible. So why get attracted to it? Because in our ignorance, we sometimes think, oh, this is more advanced. Right? Just like many people think, Vishnu must be greater than Krishna because he has 4 arms, not 2. Sometimes we go, to like a function, and they have 2 prasadam lines, right? And one line is very long. And they tell both lines have the same items. But still, we'll go to the long line. We'll think, these people are going, they must be getting something more. Something extra item must be here. This line is short. And you'll get your prasadam better. The sign says, this is the same items. But our mind is so fickle. We'll go to the long line. These people must know something I don't know. We won't go and inquire and look and do the analysis and cross-compare. So this is the nature. So what to do? We take to the instructions. We'll see, I think, in next verse. Brahmaji studied the Vedas 3 times and then concluded this point. That bhakti is the ultimate and perfect process. So Srila Prabhupada, gives us so many references from Bhagavad Gita. Because Krishna's ultimate instruction is Mam Ekam. Only one. Exclusive surrender. As yesterday we were talking about, those who are not resolute are multi-branched. Right? When we are multi-branched, our energy is divided. Right? We have a fixed sum. Whatever percentage I give here is that much less I have to give here. So, just like in the elevator, I cannot put 1 foot in the elevator and 1 foot out. So while the process is simple and relatively easy, and Krishna does all the work, the one thing we have to do, commit. I have to step in. To try to multi-track this process. I'll do some bhakti, and I'll do some other forms of spirituality. Doesn't work. So to take advantage of this perfect process, it requires that of us, which is to step in, both feet and both arms, full body, full consciousness. And when we do, then this process of devotional service unfolds for us. And let us remember, what is devotional service? What is bhakti? Bhakti, Srila Prabhupada explains in the introduction to Nectar of Devotion, he translated bhakti as devotional service. Because bhakti connotates love. And love is expressed through service. If I love my mother, I can tell my mother I love her. That's nice. But if I really want to tell her and show her I love her, what do? I render some service. So service is that great expression of our love. So when we engage in devotional service, we should be always thinking, how am I expressing my love to Krishna as I chant these rounds? How am I expressing my love to Krishna as I roll these chapatis? How am I expressing my love to Krishna as I distribute Srila Prabhupada's books? Right? Because that is the meaning of devotional service. Sometimes in our practices we forget that main ingredient. It is the expression of love. That is the definition. That's why devotion through service, devotional service. So this is the meaning of bhakti. So let's now, in the time we have remaining, discuss this very nice comment that Sridhar Swami and Jiva Goswami make, which says that bhakti yoga is easy. Is bhakti yoga easy? That's a tough question, right? How to answer this question? If I say yes, there's many reasons no, and if I say no, it's going against Srila Prabhupada's purport. So, let's answer with a little. Is bhakti easy relative to Ashtanga yoga? If we were, quote unquote, selling, distributing Ashtanga yoga, how many people would be coming to our projects? Okay, guess what? You come, and after you're convinced, you're going to sell all your stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and we're going to go to the forest for the rest of our life. Ready? So we can see that devotional service is easy relative to these other processes. And we have some great examples in Srimad Bhāgavatam. Right? Think of the process of perfection that Ajamil went through. What was his, after decades of heinous actions, how much austerity he had to endure to find perfection? He just indirectly called out to the name of Kṛṣṇa, Narayan, but without offense. And that revoked his position or his almost destiny, and he was able to achieve. Relatively easy. See, Srila Prabhupada, who he was preaching to initially, and even later on. People who were fully in the mode of passion and ignorance, not even in goodness. And did they find it difficult to give up all of these bad habits? No. Found it very easy. Right? We get to enjoy our senses. We get to enjoy everything when we bring Krishna into the center. Right? So what makes bhakti difficult? Our mind. Right? Our false ego. That is what makes bhakti difficult. Because the process itself, is, relatively speaking, quite easy. How about simple? How many mantras you need to know to perfect devotional service? 700 in the Bhagavad Gita, you should know all of them. 18,000 in Srimad Bhāgavatam. How many mantras you need to know to perfect devotional service and go back to Goloka Vrindavan? Not even to Vaikuntha, to go back to Goloka Vrindavan. How many mantras you need to know? I'll say 2. Without our Panchatattva mantra, we can't access the Maha Mantra. So we must chant Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami gives so much emphasis on the importance of chanting this Panchatattva mantra so that we can obtain the mercy of the Maha Mantra. But we don't need to have this erudite scholarship. We don't need to be of a certain, financial status, education status, social status, nothing. As Prabhupada says, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, even a dog eater is not disqualified. Right? One might argue that, hey, I'm not qualified to go directly to the highest realm of spiritual life. I have to make my way there. That is mundane material logic. Right? I cannot go to PhD level until I've completed graduate studies. I cannot go to graduate studies until I've completed undergraduate studies. But in spiritual life, Krishna says, no, You can go direct. Because he has made the process simple. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. What could be more simple? So we know that this devotional service is very simple. But what complicates it? Our mind, our false ego. We make it complicated through our anarthas. Then it is natural. Again, in Nectar Devotion, Srila Prabhupada comments when presenting or introducing this topic of sadhana bhakti, this practice. He says this practice is not there to learn something new, right? Like if I want to learn how to play tennis, I practice. That is to develop the ability to learn tennis. But Srila Prabhupada says we don't learn something new in practicing bhakti. What are we doing? We are awakening it. Because it is our natural position. It is our original position. Where bhakti is lying? Dormant within our hearts. He gives the example that parents, when they have a young child, they are not giving the ability to the child to walk. The child is born with that ability. And the parents are simply helping to bring that ability out. Similarly, every living entity has so every living entity has this natural capacity. And when we see and discuss the extraordinary qualities of the pure devotees of the Lord, when we see how tolerant, patient Srila Haridas Thakur was, how determined he was to chant his holy names, how, when Maya Devi herself came to try to tempt him, he was not the least bit swayed, how strong he was. We think, oh man, that's impossible. That's such a high state. But what confidence we should have? If I want to become a Wimbledon tennis winner, is that realistic for me? Be honest. No. No matter how much I practice, I don't have the physical attributes to make that happen. So I can practice till forever, and it's not realistically going to happen. But achieving this highest quality of bhakti, is that achievable by me and you? And even the ant crawling on the floor? Yes. Why? Because that is its natural ability. We once had that pure potency of devotional service. So if I had something previously, and now I'm in the process of regaining it, I can have confidence that actually I can do this. Confidence isn't in my own ability. It's confidence in the process that the Supreme Lord has given to us. And so when we remember this is actually my natural state, when we are struggling to make progress in devotional service, we can remain confident. That's why Rupa Goswami says, right? Utsaha nischayad dharya. Nischayad, we should be confident. But confident in the right things. Two things. It's confident that this process of bhakti is the absolute only thing that is worthy of my effort, that is actually going to help me achieve my goal. It's the only thing. Not, world fame and bhakti. Not beautiful looks and bhakti. Millions of dollars. No. It is only devotional service. Confidence in that, and confidence that Krishna's mercy will help me. When we carry that, then this process of devotional service, despite the challenges we find, the complexities we may face, it becomes simple and easy. And because it's my natural disposition, any unnatural feelings I have in practicing devotional service, I should know, is only the impurities getting in the way of that experience. So with that, we can progress with great enthusiasm. Then, Prabhupada says, free from trouble. How many of us find our devotional service free from trouble? No. So what is the source of our trouble? Our mind and false ego. When we do our devotional service and it doesn't work, we become frustrated. I wanted to put this program on, I wanted to distribute this many books, I wanted to make these chapatis and it doesn't work. We become frustrated. Why? Because we have not surrendered to Krishna's plan. The trouble is only there because we have tried to put our plan above Krishna's plan. I always say that. How do you want to make Krishna laugh? What joke you can tell Krishna to make him laugh? Tell him your plan. When we have faith in Krishna's plan, then what trouble we could have? Prahlad Maharaj was subjected to unimaginable trouble. But why he was always at peace? He said, if these boulders are meant to crush me by Krishna's plan, then great. It's the best of circumstances. If these snakes are meant to bite me by Krishna's plan, then best of circumstances. So, the free from trouble occurs when our consciousness is set right. That Krishna is going to take control of our journey in spiritual life. Just like when we enter into the elevator, we don't worry about, it going up. It just goes up. Our job is just to stay on the elevator, press the button, get in. So similarly, when practicing our devotional service, it is free from trouble as long as we surrender to Krishna's plan. We have to put forth our effort, our energy, our endeavor. That is the only thing we should stress about. Am I trying with my sincerest of effort and ability? Whatever ability Krishna has given me, I should use it to its full potential. And if I am doing that, sufficient. Whether the results come or not, whose issue is that? It's Krishna's. Right? But we are the opposite. When success comes, yes, I did it. And when failure happens, Krishna, where were you? But the ultimate liberating feeling is that, hey, when something doesn't work, that's Krishna's problem to solve, not mine. I just have to try. But also when success comes, we should know who did it. Srila Prabhupada, when he was receiving so much glorification from the world over about all of his accomplishments, which were beyond extraordinary, he had no attachment to it because he had full confidence. Oh, Guru's mercy. No. Yeah, we can speak it. We should speak it at least anyways if we're not feeling. He, in the core of his heart, knew it. That the only reason this was happening was because his spiritual master wanted it. He had zero attachment. And the more he accomplished, the more he realized that. The more we accomplish, the more we tend to attach to it. In the early days of our spiritual life, we see such transformations that we become very grateful to Krishna. But as we progress, we tend to take, ownership of these results. But if we see in the case of Srila Prabhupada, the more that was manifesting, the more he understood who was really doing this. And this consciousness, if we take to our spiritual life, to our practice of bhakti, then it will be free from trouble. So, easy if we make it easy. Simple if we allow it to be simple. Natural, it is our constitutional position. It is the intrinsic nature of each and every one of us. And free from trouble if we surrender to Krishna's plan. Then, Prabhupada ends with, but it is the only source of happiness. It is the only source of happiness. And if we are not getting happiness, let us not forget, devotional service is meant to be happy. We should enjoy our devotional service. Sometimes in the sincere endeavor and practice, we forget the most important ingredient. Have fun. Enjoy your devotional service. Enjoy rising early in the morning and bathing in cold temperature as a vigoration. Enjoy chanting the holy names of the Lord in the assembly of such wonderful Vaishnavas. Enjoy the prasadam. Don't forget that most important ingredient. Enjoy the process of devotional service. Otherwise, what's the point? Right? So we are meant to enjoy our practice of spiritual life. But we should know how to enjoy and where that's coming from. So this is the conclusion of all Vedic knowledge, is that it is only devotional service that can help us achieve our perfection of life. And it is this easy process. It's the elevator to the top. And, at the end of the 8th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives just to conclusively clear all our doubts. He says that when you do bhakti, you get the results of all charities, of all yagyas, of all penances, of all different, obligations we have. All of that is satisfied. And you get to come back to me. So there is nothing missing in this process. So that is our great fortune. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have now come to know, hey, we don't have to take the stairs. There is a lift right around the corner. Just hop in and push the button and enjoy the ride up and go back home, back to God. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Any corrections, comments, discussion, questions? Yes, Rudy?
It's a reflection.
Yes, please.
As we are explaining this section, Bhakti Yoga is easy, simple, natural, free from trouble. But it is also only source of happiness. I was reflecting upon a temple construction.
Yes. It's an easy process, right? If I had hair to lose, I would have lost that also. Yes. But it is a labor of love. Like a mother goes through great difficulty to bear a child. But as soon as that child is born, she's eager to do it again. But in the process, never again I want to do this. Like that. The difficulty in devotional service. And as we know, Srila Prabhupada gives this beautiful lecture on the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. You must have heard this. I listen to it every disappearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur when he was in LA. It's just the most beautiful lecture. And he is speaking about, of course, his Gurudev. And he gets extremely emotional, and at the end he has to end the class and gets off the Vyasasana. But the point that I was referring in relation to your point is that, Krishna, he gives us these difficulties and challenges in our process to fuel our surrender and enthusiasm in devotional service. And then we can see that, how much difficulty Srila Prabhupada endured. We see the heyday of Prabhupada's successes. But if you want a gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching experience, read 1965 to 1967 of Lilamrit. Just to see the struggle, Srila Prabhupada, it's like, Krishna, why? Why put Srila Prabhupada through that trouble? Because the devotee doesn't see that as trouble. He sees that as inspiration to push harder, to surrender more. And that's how we have to see it. We feel it as a slap in the face, but we can feel it as this inspiration. And we see it, right? How much trouble the Pandavas went through, how much trouble Haridas Thakur went through, beaten in the marketplaces. So whatever trouble we face, it's very small. I see how much struggle, even, our spiritual masters go through, we can tolerate. And it's our opportunity for purification. So, yes, it is sweet. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhuji.
Pranam.
Prabhuji, this was so simple. My question is, how did you come in Krishna conscious movement of this Prabhupada?
How I came into Krishna conscious movement? I'm still trying to get in, but I'm at the door, but still trying to get in. Hopefully you all will unlock it for me. But, I've had millions and millions of fathers and mothers, but by Krishna's unlimited compassion, he gave me my current mother and father, who introduced me to Krishna consciousness in my childhood. My father was worried that how he was going to answer all my questions, so he sent me to Bhagavad Gita class. I think that was maybe 7th, 8th grade. And then he said, oh boy, I better learn it too then. That's how it started for me. Was in my childhood due to the mercy of my parents, and then of course my father not being able to find any success in cultivating any ounce of spirituality in my heart. He disowned me, and he gave me to my spiritual master, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And I was blessed because both of them were very close with each other. They would meet on the altar in Vrindavan every day, and my father would express his concerns about me, and Gurudev would try to assure him. But I felt like this orphan child, because when I would go to Guru Maharaj and ask, what I can do, what instruction, he says, just follow your father. And when I go to my father, he says, just follow your spiritual master. So I figure they both gave me up. But in fact, the reality is, it's the blessings of, my parents, spiritual master, and all the devotees in life, that I still have some hope to start this process. So, and I'm praying you all can pray for me that someday we can start with sincerity. The elevator door is open. Now just have to step in. So, thank you. Yes, brother. Hare Krishna. Any question here in the front?
During initial days of our devotional service, while enjoying the process, we tend to lose the seriousness. So, what is the correct way of enjoying in devotional service? And how to remain serious and enjoy the process simultaneously?
Well, the seriousness is that our enjoyment in Krishna consciousness will only increase as we purify. So, for example, if I have a bowl of sweet rice and it has the most perfect milk coming from the grass-fed cows that are just so lovingly nurtured, and I have the best sugar, and I have the best rice, and it has all been cooked together in the perfect proportions. But unfortunately, I also added some salt to it. What is the taste of that sweet rice? It's okay, but it's not proper. But if somehow I can start removing that salt, what happens to the taste of that sweet rice? It's very sweet. And by the time I remove all of that salt, then what am I enjoying? That pure nectar. So Krishna consciousness, we experience the full taste of it as we purify. So why that, when I'm chanting my japa, I am not going into ecstasy? It is because of my impurities. Just like I'm not able to relish this greatness of that sweet rice. The ingredients are all there, but there's one more thing there that's preventing it all. So I have to remove that. So my seriousness in devotional service is to achieve that purity so that I can really relish the happiness of spiritual life. So my motivation to be serious is to continue to remove those impurities so that that taste comes. Because when we know, right, the steps from Shraddha to Prem, right? After Anartha Nivritti, we finally become fixed, Nishta. And when we are fixed, then Ruchi comes, this taste. But when we taste the sweetness of Krishna consciousness, it's so overwhelming. We can't get enough of it. We can't get enough of it. So much so that 2 eyes are not sufficient to see the beauty of the Lord. We'll start to chastise the Lord. Why you made the eyes blink? We don't notice the interruption in sight by the blinking in the eyes. But who notices them? The gopis of Vrindavan. They think, why you made these foolish things? They're blocking my sight of the Supreme Lord by the blink of an eye. The residents of Vrindavan, 7 days, 7 nights under Govardhan. No food, no rest, no sitting down even. Just drinking the beauty of the Lord. They couldn't get enough. It wasn't sufficient. This is the experience when we have fully purified the heart. So the seriousness is there to the inspiration to be serious is to experience the real bliss of spiritual life. And so we balance that seriousness. Happy doesn't mean take it easy. Be lazy. Be half-hearted. Happiness means enjoy the process of purifying the heart. And it will happen, right? So we see the experiences in Srimad Bhāgavatam of the great personalities enjoying their spiritual life. And we say, I also want to enjoy like that. And of course, we know the conundrum is the less we want to enjoy and just focus on the pleasing of Krishna, the more we actually enjoy. So ultimately, we have to purify even of that desire. And that we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's okay? Yes, Prabhuji.
Devotional service is easy, natural, simple, and it's full of happiness. But then it's so rare as well. So how to understand its rarity?
Well, it's not rare it's rare in our sight. But in the total context, this material world is only 1/4 of the creation. It's like if we are stuck in a prison jail cell, we'll say, man, there's no happiness in this whole world. And the people outside, no, there's happiness. You're just not inside this place you are. So this purity of bhakti is rare in this place we are. this material world. But there are many, many more times people enjoying pure, unlimited Vaikunta, no miseries. Right? So we are in a minority. But in fact, we are in the majority within the material. We're in the far, far minority in the material world who are enjoying spiritual life. So the rarity of it is in our current circumstance. And that's why we should be careful not to think that this is too difficult. Understand this. If we think, oh, this is impossible for me to purify my heart, this is impossible for me to achieve the positions, the experiences of some of these great personalities. Again, we're not trying to become them, don't go to that, but following in their footsteps, how it's possible. If I say it's impossible, what am I doing? I am underestimating the potency of Krishna's bhakti process. So it is possible. It is possible by the proper application of his process. So the rarity is just in our current circumstance. But we should understand it for us. The benefit of the rarity is that we don't take it for granted. Sometimes, familiarity breeds contempt. So we should understand that we have been traversing this material universe for millions and millions and millions and millions of lifetimes. And we have finally, after so much effort, come in contact with the pure devotee of Lord like Srila Prabhupada. And now we have the opportunity to understand this. We should grab it and take it with full sincerity. If you were, swimming in an ocean for days and days, struggling, and all of a sudden a boat comes with a life jacket, you would say, I'll take that tomorrow. You would grab it and not let go. So we should be very mindful. I'll try this for a little bit and see if it's okay. I'll give it a shot. No, we should jump in and embrace it, because it is rare in this world. So we can hold both ideas. Use the rarity to inspire us to value it, but appreciate that it's not rare in the total context, so it's very achievable. Is that okay? Yes, Prabhuji?
Thank you, Prabhuji. The way you speak with so much faith and conviction is really inspiring. Prabhuji, you mentioned about that whatever situation Krishna creates in all of our lives, and you were giving the example of Prahlad Maharaj, that we should have faith that it is the best of the circumstances in all of our lives. So that seems a very high platform actually in our present situation. So when troubles come, so how do we deal on a practical level?
Yeah. The next time you engage with somebody who is giving you difficulty, you should be very grateful to Krishna. Because if I am surrounded by people who only bow and glorify and tell you how great you are, where you will end up in devotional life? You will fall immediately, because our false ego will grow larger than this Krishna Arjuna temple. But when someone is in our devotional circle, that is a constant thorn in our side. What we have to learn? Tolerance. We have to learn patience. We have to learn compassion. We have to learn, Krishna, if we do 99 bad things and one good thing, what does Krishna see? One good thing. But when devotee does 99 good things and one bad thing, what do we see? So how to overcome this? So the challenges we face in devotional life, they are for our benefit. They are for our purification. You know, Vaishnava Maharaj always uses this example that if you have a piece of gold and it has some alloys in it, you have to put the gold in fire to purify it. When you put it in fire, then the impurities will separate from the pure gold. So similarly, the difficulties in devotional service, and most of them are with people, right? That's just the nature of the beast, right? I'm in the business world. I am famous for saying, oh, my company would be so much easier if people weren't involved. Right? Because managing people is so difficult, so challenging. So in devotional life, we should understand that Kṛṣṇa brought me in this circumstance for a purpose, to teach me these qualities of tolerance, patience, only seeing the good, not focusing on the bad like Kṛṣṇa does. Right? And all these things, because without it, if I'm just surrounded by people who, glorify me and love me, how I will improve, how I will bring out these qualities. Right? Just like a nice smooth piece of wood, it became smooth by the rough sandpaper applied to rough wood. It had to be ground down. Our heart, my heart needs to be ground down. So that's how we can understand these challenging situations. And I'm being serious. We should embrace it. We should really, in the core of our heart, embrace these challenging circumstances, and particularly, I would say, individuals, because it is our great opportunity to purify and just answer one question. If Kṛṣṇa didn't want that to happen, could it happen? So there must be some reason. And we know the reason we can take for my purification. Easier said than done, but do it. Honestly. Easier said than done, but do it. We'll take Nike's logo. Just do it. It's a very important part of our process. And you see this, how much Srila Prabhupada endured. His own god brothers turned on him. Even some of his own disciples turned on him. That type of pain we cannot even begin to contemplate. So, pray to Srila Prabhupada for the strength to just do it. Okay. Anything else? We might be getting late. Okay. Thank you very much. Grantharaj Srimad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji ki jai.